Doug, those hostages being a main talking point in some of the diplomatic efforts we're seeing this Friday.
Yeah, let's start with the main one, which is the chief U.S. diplomat, Antony Blinken. He is on what is absolutely his most extensive tour of the Mideast region since he became Secretary of State over 2 years ago. And it's a tour that yesterday began in Israel. Today has taken him to Jordan, to Amman, Jordan, where he has met already with the Jordanian king, Abdullah II, whose country has a sizable Palestinian, whose country is very much concerned with the status of the Palestinian people. He has gone on and met with the Palestinian Authority leader in Amman. He came from the West Bank to Amman, Mahmud Abbas, and he is going to be moving on all today. This is one day we're talking about. He's going to be moving on to Qatar. He's going to be moving on to Bahrain, and he's going to end today, this Friday, in Saudi Arabia. So it's basically Israel, Jordan, all of the Gulf Arab countries, and Egypt. That is quite a tour in a span of about 2.5 days. I think the UAE is going to, and Egypt are going to be tomorrow. What is the imperative on all of these? You mentioned the hostages. That is going to be obviously front and center, but it's all very complicated because the double-pronged mission here is, one, to help the conflict from spreading. Well, you could argue too late for that. And given what we just heard, the reporting from Iris in Jerusalem, there's a bunker right now. The Israeli military is basically in a full throttle mode. They have their objectives drawn. They are going full forward. There is no sense right now of the restraint. Yes, we've heard the calls in recent days from the international community trying to balance out their carte blanche that they're giving to Israel. Basically, we have your back, do what you have to do, flush out Hamas, with calls to preserve and safeguard the lives of Palestinian civilians. If you're going to err on one side or the other right now, it's the Israeli military's mentality right now is full speed ahead. We have to get Hamas, whatever it takes, as Iris was reporting. So there's that, to help the conflict from spreading, extremely difficult, but also for the U.S. to press, to inveigh upon those countries in the region that might have leverage, might have influence with Hamas, notably Qatar, which has close ties to the Hamas leadership, which has reportedly been in contact with Hamas officials in recent days, trying to negotiate some form of a hostage deal, perhaps involving the release of Palestinians imprisoned in Israeli jails. All of this, sketchy, uncorroborated, just reports, all in its initial phases, but it's a mixture of that sort of double-pronged diplomacy. Help spread the conflict, enlist countries that can, and there aren't that many of them, to bring their influence to bear on Hamas, a group that the U.S. does not consider an interlocutor, just the contrary. Hamas, a terrorist group to the United States, a terrorist group to the European Union, a terrorist group to the U.K. as well, among others. So very tricky diplomacy. And just to add one extra twist here, the reports in recent hours have been that a spokesperson for the Qatari foreign ministry, just talking about Qatar, right? Its influence with Hamas, its ties to Hamas, the fact that Hamas's top political leader has a home in Doha, Qatar, the fact that Qatar has reportedly been behind helping to finance the actual governing bodies of Gaza, the Hamas governors in Gaza, all of this. The foreign minister of Qatar saying it is too early, perhaps, for a diplomatic solution right now, to talk of all those diplomatic solutions. And I guess that's an allusion to the fact that it seems like, as the Israeli military has been saying, they're determined to have war first. And they keep saying, war first, then we'll do investigations, then we'll move on to other phases. But that's where everyone sort of is right now, which makes diplomacy so complicated. Doesn't mean you don't go through the motions of the diplomacy. You have to. But even those who are most involved with Hamas are not indicating that there's going to be, in the immediate short term, right here and now, a diplomatic solution to what's going on the ground.
All right, Doug. Thank you very much. Douglas Herbert, our international affairs commentator.